What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Strangers Minds. I'm Fernando, and today we're gonna read from Reddit Ghosts. That's it. That's the name of the community, Ghosts. But just to let you guys know, this is the first time I am recording since June 30th. It's been a whole month. With the kids out on summer vacation, I just took time for myself before the summer started for us. I recorded a bunch of videos just to keep it in the, just to create a backlog, or like a library. And obviously, in a month, they all already went by. You guys already have seen all of them. I believe I have the last one coming out on the 14th of this month. But yeah, we're gonna start recording and let's see what this Reddit group community has in store for us. So 18 hours ago, we have just a follow up on a post I made in here yesterday. Now I am interested to find this post, but let's see what this one is about. So I take everything said in here with a grain of salt, as everybody dealing with social media should. I'm a skeptic. Ooh. All right. I do not know what I believe. I do feel like I sense things in a way. I feel like more than likely it was my imagination playing with me more than anything. But last night, after making this post, I started feeling some weird sensations. For some reason or another, something was telling me not to look in a certain corner in my room. Ooh, all right. I couldn't explain why. I felt the bed compress slightly at one point in the night, but I chalked it up to my wife getting up to use the bathroom or something. Or something. What else could that something be? Right? If you have a partner that you sleep with and you feel the bed compressed, if it's not your partner, what else could it be? Do you have a pet? Um, a heavy blanket? Maybe you were restless, maybe, and couldn't really, you felt the quilt or the heavy blanket. I mean, I'm just shooting ideas. Um, this morning, I went to a funeral. It just so happened to be the same funeral home and same parlor in said home that we did my grandfather's service. My condolences. I did not know this until this morning, as I didn't look at the obituary until then. Now going back to the feeling that I in particular is where my firearms safe. Oh wait, did I just skip a whole line? Yes, I did. My fault, guys. Now going back to the feeling that I shouldn't look in a particular corner of my room, I came to realization once I entered the funeral home. That corner in particular is where my firearm safe is. My grandfather used to tell me as a child, don't go in my room. There's monsters in there. He would tell me that because he didn't keep a safe. His firearms were stored in a closet. Just thought this was an interesting thing to share. I am Morning Vietnam 0312. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the original post. Here's the original post for this context. Hopefully we can get it. Okay. All right. It's not much. Uh has anyone tried to communicate with deceased relatives in here? I'm not really sure how to word what I'm asking, but I would love to hear stories of if how people have spoken to past loved ones. I ask because I wish I could speak with my grandfather again. He died 3 years ago, but I don't know how to overcome the empty feeling of not being able to hear his voice or his wisdom. I never took the time to have take pictures with him or to record his voice or his stories, and I regret it. I guess I just ask as a skeptic really to have some comfort in the paranormal. I would love to hear your stories. Well, Morning Vietnam, I could tell you this. Many people with lost loved ones have tried to communicate one way or another. And there has been successful stories out there to tell. Um, like how you said in your most recent post, everything on here you could take it as a grain of salt. But I could tell you this: if you have a very strong bond with a family member, let's say your grandfather, I believe that sometimes, especially um, in the whole aspect of when you're sleeping in your dreams, they could come and visit you and possibly, tell you some, tell you things, or just things that you need to hear or want to hear. There is, I believe there is a way that our loved ones after death can reach out. And what better way to do it when you're asleep? Because as you all know, from one of my favorite rappers out there, Nas, sleep is the cousin of death. So, my theory is that when you're sleeping, when you're in the freaking just out, just, you're lights out, you're in a bit of a state where, I've heard stories where people have seen their own bodies while they're sleeping because their soul has left the bodies. But where you could you communicate knowingly that it's a dream or an outer body experience, that's what it's called, with past loved ones? Now, I'm just talking about dreams, but there are ways that people have tried to communicate with voice recorders, and one that I do not recommend because it's very dangerous: a Ouija board. I would not recommend a Ouija board. Why? Because when you use a Ouija board, even though it says on the box from ages 12 and up, you're opening a door. So you don't know who's coming through that door once it's open. You could be asking questions to a particular spirit, but you don't know who's coming through, which could leave you in a vulnerable state. But let's see what other people say about this. If you ask them to come, they will be around you. I wouldn't recommend using a Ouija board. Yes, do not recommend. Or a hokey psychic. Well, that's a very particular yes. I do agree not to use a hokey psychic, but that doesn't mean psychics are fake. I do believe in psychics. I have met plenty of them within the years of my experience within the paranormal field. And yes, I am a paranormal investigator, and I do this, YouTube reacting, reading off Reddit, and doing a bunch of other things as a form of fun for me. I enjoy this. So I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Um, I was missing a parent a while back while trying to sleep, and it was hurting bad. And then I felt their arms around me, squeezing me. Just talk to them out loud, aloud. They can hear you. I truly believe this because about 3 years ago, I lost my father, and I was in a very bad place. In a very bad place. But I recall having three dreams, very vivid, with him. Now, here's the thing: I didn't really get any vocal from him because I didn't let him. let me let me just say that every in those three dreams, and what's weird is that I hardly dream. I'm a bit of a light sleeper. Anything will wake me up, so it's like my brain doesn't really get a chance to dream. But when I dreamt with my father, like it's like within my dream, I knew he passed away, and I missed him so much that as soon as he walks through the door, I just run and hug him. And I, like, there's no like, I, that's it. So the three instances that I did dream of my father, it was because I missed him so bad, and as soon as I saw him, I just like within my dream, I knew he was gone, or not gone, but he wasn't with us physically, and I just hugged him. So yes, that is just talk to him out loud. I unfortunately I did relocate to Florida for a better life, but my father is buried in New York, and I haven't gone to his to his resting place for almost a year, and yeah, that is tough. But every time I go to the cemetery to visit him, um I just stay there and talk to him. But you know what? That might be the reason why I haven't dreamt about him. But let's see the other comments. I've had relatives who had been involved in seances, and one distant relative who was a medium. Apparently, they tried to conjure the spirit of a dead uncle, and one of my relatives said that it wasn't him. Like I was saying, be careful when you go to open doors, you guys. And in any kind of way, a seance is a particular way that you are opening almost like a vortex to talk and reach to somebody, but you don't know who's coming through. So, just like social media, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You could have all the hope and want and the faith that you're talking to to a loved one, but you don't know who's coming through. A couple of relatives, husband and wife, used to be regulars at seances, and what they ended up dealing with was evil spirits, not spirits of loved ones. Their attending seances backfired, and someone would be shoving my aunt, and there was nobody around. Plus, the pitcher for juice would float on its own, and their daughter saw little green men that no one else saw. Jesus Christ, that was a very bad experience with a seance. You will not be able to conjure the spirit of your grandfather, but a demon passing for him. Well, I wouldn't say all that. I say that, faith, if you have a strong faith, it does not matter religion. If you have a strong faith, like you are focused on, trying to reach a loved one, there is a good possibility that you could be talking to him, to that person. That is my belief. Now, the only way anybody could, you know, uh, give us the facts is who passed on and is on the other side of life. So you will not be able to conjure the spirit of your grandfather, but a demon passing for him. My advice: cherish yours and others' memories of your grandfather, but do not dabble in the occult. Yes, Lawrence Heights. Thank you very much for because here on Reddit you get a lot of assholes. I'm gonna say it. You get a lot of assholes, and this guy, he seems like he is really trying to help, but there are other ways that you could try and communicate, especially if you really want to try. And I do recommend the easiest, safest way would be with a voice recorder in a location where your loved ones has a very strong connection to, most likely their home, if you want to try something of this sorts. But once again, even using a voice recorder, you may get something the unexpected. So again, it's like taking a risk, taking a chance. Let's see the last one. I believe I have. I wanted to speak to my grandmother, and my friend had a Ouija board, so she brought it over. Ugh. The three of us said a prayer, used a white candle, and I had a couple of objects of hers. I read you're supposed to keep your mind clear. Yes, you're supposed to keep your mind clear, or just concentrate on the person you're trying to communicate with. But if you have a lot of stuff going on, don't dabble with a Ouija board. Now, again, like I'm not saying this for everybody seeing this video to go out and try and use a Ouija board. No. But you need to be mentally strong, you guys. Like mentality is stronger than you'll ever know. And apparently, we're using only a very small percentage of our brain. So, just try and concentrate as hard as you can if you want to take this risk. I do not recommend it if you want to take this risk. So I did, and I asked questions only she would have known. I sure got answers. I was having strange occurrences around my apartment at the time. I asked who it was, and the name it gave was a person I knew who was murdered a couple months prior. I asked if she was help. I asked if she would help me get him to leave, and it said yes. The stuff stopped soon after. I believe it was my grandma. That is an amazing story. Jeez, man. That's an amazing story. You're having some paranormal activity within your household. You reach out to a loved one and ask them to help you, and the paranormal activity stops. Man, I if that's not a beautiful story, I don't know what is. Thank you guys for sharing all of your comments and your experiences and just being a thoughtful, nice, good human being. Thank you guys. But let's keep it moving. Let's go on to the next. Let's see. That's commercial. All right, we got a video, you guys. Let's see what this is about. First, let's see if there's a story. No story. Let's stop this. Let's stop this. Let's turn this up. Let's put it big screen. Let's see what this is gonna give. Let's see that one more time because you guys, that was interesting. First off, it happens really fast. You get movement over here. Seems like a mist, movement of mists. Then on this side, you actually almost see a person walking. Now, why I say it's interesting is because whether or not it has anything to do, because unfortunately, we have an issue within the paranormal field. Even the most prominent, the most promising, sorry, not prominent, the most promising, trying to be true as a paranormal investigator or somebody or a paranormal victim, how I say, wants to share their experience. Unfortunately, we are with AI and with what AI could do, it is difficult to just show things without any comment because honestly, this this looks okay. What happened on this side looks okay, but what happened on this side, it looked a little sus. Now, what I said is interesting is because as soon as you see this side moving, the dog wakes up after like a little ting, and then he walks away. Do you see that? That was pretty. Okay, you guys. So that's what we got. There's no friend captured this in her living room last night. There's really no story, but let's see what the comments are. Wait, this was from Kit 10 Catastro. The dog was like, hell no. I moved away. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. He looked at the camera like, y'all seeing that shit? Oh man, hell no. Time to forego my normal parking spree. All right. But the dog was not a frightened, so that's pointing to a benevolent ghost. I think I haven't. I think I have something in my house, but it doesn't set my cat off, so I just ignore the signs. I mean, we all know that pets, animals in general, they have a keen sense that we don't have, and they tend to react to things that it takes a lot more for us to react to. But with that being said, we did see that the dog did react to it. So, and it walked away. Now, as far as I know from all of the comments, I wouldn't trust that to be an indicator. My dog would befriend a bear that's foaming at the mouth or a robber breaking in. He would absolutely befriend Casper if it promised him a pet or a treat. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, it's true. It's true. Depending on what kind of dog you got, also, because there's a lot of dogs that are just naturally friendly, especially depending on how you raise the dog, which is normally a friendly dog. It's, you know, uh, I would say, like, like me, um, I like big dogs. I like big dogs and I like to train them. So if I'm not around, the dog would protect my family, his family. So that's how I would raise my dog. But they are just dogs that are like little, like, I dare I say sorry to the, dog lover community, like an accessory. Something that I could pick up and throw like a football to me is, it's not a dog you want protecting your family, right? So yeah, depending on what kind of dog, but regardless of what we're talking about is the dog and it's I'm gonna say sixth sense, right? Let's continue on. LOL, but I've heard that they can't help it. The evil just sets them off. Again, the dog seemed like it just heard something, peeked up, and it just walked away. So I wouldn't say it's anything evil because if it was, but then again, we can't really jump to that conclusion that it's not evil. I'm not saying that just to instigate the situation. No, but with the short, what, like 10-15 second clip, we don't really know what's going on. All we know is that the dog kind of got up, it didn't run, and it just walked away. Cool. So that's a good sign that it's nothing dangerous. But let's keep it going for this one. Ghost caught at Winchester Mystery House. God damn, this is part of my bucket list, you guys. This is definitely one of my bucket lists to go to the Winchester Mystery House. It said it caught a ghost. Oh, that's an awesome picture of the past. If you guys don't know what the Winchester House is, you guys might know the Winchester, the gun, the rifle. So the mystery house is, I do not recall the location. Hold up, maybe it says it here. Let's see if there's any story to it. Um, Sorry, I could have sworn I made it bigger. Okay, so there's a story. Basically, as the caption says, about 2 years ago, I had what I consider a real paranormal encounter. We were on what I guess we were on one of the house tours, and honestly, I'd always believed the place wasn't haunted, just interesting for its history. Yes, it is the Winchester House. So, um, if you guys look up the Winchester House, the way this house is built, it's almost like, apparently, this is the story. Um, the woman that owned the Winchester House just kept, she had a lot of money, and she just kept on, damn. I hope I'm saying the right story because there are so many stories I have in my head of infamous places. But the Winchester House, I know it's um, it's the rifle. So I'm pretty sure I have my my information correct. So the lady ended up just expanding her house, but she made the house like a maze. Like they had doors where it led to nowhere, staircases that were kind of weird and awkward to move around, staircases that went like to nowhere. So she made it almost like a maze because this is a story. She was being haunted by everyone that has been killed by, oh, I'm sorry that I used the K word. I don't know if this is going to get monetized now. Who has been unalived by a Winchester rifle. So, she was being haunted. So, what she did was that she built this house to confuse the spirits in a way and to just keep them roaming and keep her safe. This is the story, the folklore of the Winchester House. But there has been many TV shows, television paranormal groups out there that went to this house and they investigated, and it's just amazing content to watch. Especially that I want to go to this place myself, hopefully one day. Um, if you look closely, it appears to show an apparition of a carpenter dressed just like they would have been in the late 1800s or 1900s. The photo was taken in the basement. Everyone had to move on, and I was at the back of the tour when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I already had my phone out and really quickly took a couple of photos. According to our tour guide, there were no props, mannequins, or anyone else down there with us at the time. She even mentioned the clothing matched what carpenters of the era would have worn, and was shocked to actually see something. What makes it even stranger is that the next photo I took shows nothing. First photo is the original, second is the highlighted, third circled, fourth right after, fifth is actual workers on the house from that era. Nice, because every time I go out onto the field, I take a series of three shots, trying not to move. Three shots, boom, boom, boom. So I could compare photos and see if there's anything changes. That works. So for anybody who wants to um, do just to try something and just to go out there and to and investigate and haunted location or a supposed haunted location, take three photos back to back and you could compare. You could have a second in between, but take just in one direction, try not to move, or a bunch of photos so you could compare. So let's see the photos again. This I do see something over here. And not for nothing, if you move around, you guys, if you move around the photo, it almost looks like a white shirt with a vest in a way. It does look like it, but it's way up here. This actually doesn't look like the first photo I'm seeing. Oh, okay, okay, I see it now. You see, man, like you gotta sway. It's funny. Am I the only paranormal investigator that does that? If I'm seeing something, I like even out in the field, I'm usually like if I see something, I need to try and like move my point of view just to see if I'm seeing it correctly. Am I the only one? That's what I usually do. It could be weird. Yeah, man. I see like a vest, shirt, white shirt, long sleeve. I don't really see no head features, but I do see like there is something there. And then the picture that it's not there. Okay. And then this is the picture. God damn, bro. Like, seriously? This is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing. Or this is what I'm seeing. The vest, the white shirt, long sleeves. That's what I'm seeing. And honestly, yes, I did see this picture. I I honestly just skipped right through it and I didn't even notice. I mostly noticed like the guys with the hats, the beards. I didn't really notice what they were wearing, but this is amazing. This is amazing. That's dope. God, I love the paranormal field, you guys. I love it. You know what though? You know what? Let's see if there's any comments. So that's where my waiter went. Oh, you asshole. It does look like it though. It does look like it though. Sounds like a dumb waiter if he went all the way to the basement. God damn. It bothers me the amount of people that would not understand this comment. What you mean? I mean, it looks like a waiter. Rumble rodent. Hmm, okay, let's keep it moving. Get out. That poor woman, she was a philanthropist and a hobbyist architect, and by all accounts, a pretty great person. And then the vultures swooped in after she died and made up a bunch of corny nonsense to sell tickets to her house. Ooh. A Miss March Payne. She paid her workmen well and treated them decently, though, so it wouldn't surprise me if one of them wanted to stick around. Hey, I have no complaints. Everybody has a story. I've always said that, upon after doing research, you could hear anybody's story, but I always say read and just try and just inform yourself instead of just taking, because not for nothing, I'm gonna say the name, but Ghost Adventures made it out to be like this person, this woman was going crazy and ended up building this maze crazy house, and just trying to keep the spirits away. So yeah, but that's the folklore. Now it seems like this person knows. Let's give it a like. I like that. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you. Link for folks interested in facts. I'm so tempted, but you know what? We are at the end of this video. Let's just read one more comment. I used to live near that place. God damn, this person's lucky. How, yo, living next, near the Winchester House? Jesus Christ. That's like, you being a resident at Salem or Savannah, Georgia. Um, I caught something in the mirror in the ballroom, I think it's called. The one with gold trim, wood, and organ. Well, I would be going to that house all the time if I lived near it too. Caught something in the barn area too, but the majority of my experiences weren't captured on camera. It's okay. It's okay. Not everybody is out to, post things. So, what matters is that you had your personal experience. That's it. It's impossible unless you work there to use controlled measures. People are everywhere, so unless you stay on top of your images by asking questions and more, it's hard to know unless you get something truly unique on camera. That place is beyond awesome visually and historically. Thanks for sharing your awesome historical relevant find. Yes, thank you for sharing. Do League, Do League 4668. Thank you for sharing your amazing story. The Winchester House is part of my bucket list. Unfortunately, as a paranormal investigator, this place has been already. I mean, what more can it? What more can we do? Like, there's nothing else to do, just to experience the house. Like, to is it haunted? Yes, yes. There's paranormal activity within the Winchester house. Yes. Everybody that goes there, every paranormal investigator that investigated or had the privilege to rent out the house and pay God knows how much money to rent out the house for one night and investigate would have experiences. Yes, we all know this. So, what am I going to do going there besides doing like the tour and just knowing the history? That is basically what I would do. And with that being said, you guys, if you are enjoying this content, please support the channel, hit that like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys on the next. Peace.